Hi! Today I'm going to show you a fun little card, and I'm going to use the Country Lane Suite, or some pieces of it, and I'm going to tie in some other things from the holiday catalog, and then I'm going to reach into the annual catalog and pull a couple of different pieces in from there. So it's a mishmash of a bunch of things, but it's a fun little card. So first I'm going to use, well, not first, altogether, I'm going to use the Country Home stamps, which are photopolymer. I'm not going to show you the catalog because the card takes a little bit of time. So I'll post the supplies down below. And then I'm going to use the barn door, which this will be a little refresher course because it was a super big hit when it first came out. And with a lot of our Stampin' Up! Stuff, you know, it's super hit when it comes out, and then we get so much new fun stuff all the time that we kind of blast past all of it. I didn't get any scrap paper, so hold on real quick while I stand up and reach over and get some of my grid paper. So I'm going to need it because I'm going to use blends. Okay, so I've got some grid paper. The first thing I'm going to do, it's fall here, but I think it was close to 100 degrees here in Indiana yesterday, and it's close to 100 degrees again today. My husband's out in the pool. This project does use some mini dimensionals, if you remember, if you've used the barn door. I've got little mini dimensional things everywhere. But because it uses the blends and it's muggy here, my first card, I didn't allow it to dry long enough. So I'm going to do my stamping, and then I'm going to do my big shot stuff, and then I'm going to go back and do the blends. So let me think for a second what all of these pieces are for. I know this is my door. Got lots of little pieces here. So this is the barn door, but this is the paper that's the designer series paper that is the Country Lane Suite. I get them confused. It's the Country Home stamp set and it's the Country Lane Suite. So this paper has wood grain on it, so it's perfect to match our door. So I'm going to stamp this with Memento ink. The only ink I'm going to use today is the Memento Black. So there's no other ink, no other colors. It's the only color I'm using. So that'll be easy to remember. Stamp this on here. This would also work if you had that wood grain designer series paper, but if you don't have that, then this is perfect because you'll have a little wood grain piece in here. This is a really cute pattern on the back of that too. And then this is going to be my main piece, so that doesn't have any stamping on it. This little piece right here is going to be, you know, when the door slides, if you've not used the pattern, our door will slide. So this is going to be the back piece. And let's see how I want to do this. I'm going to use this for scrap for a second. I need to overstamp this. So these are the flowers that normally go in the pot. But I want some flowers to just show through when my door slides open. So I'm just going to stamp these here. There. And then when my door slides the other way, I'm going to have a saying, and this says, so grateful for someone like you in my life. And these are the only stamp that I'm using out of the door set is the door itself. But here, let me show you real quick. Well, let me stamp and then I'll show you so it can start to dry. And then this is the little piece that actually matches the tin tile embossing folder, which I'm not using. But I'm going to color it so it ends up looking more, it kind of just looks like a little country piece. It doesn't look like the tin tile when you color it. So here's my little background piece, and I'm going to let that dry for a second. So that means this is the inside of my card. Those two pieces were kind of similar in size, so I wanted to make sure I got them right. And this one says, you are the happy to my day. This is going to be on the inside of my card. Put that there. This is the metal tin. And tomorrow on Facebook, well, it'll be today when this gets posted. So if you happen to watch this the day I post it, I'm going to do a live, but I'm also going to show you a bunch of different ideas on how to color these, because both of the little pots that come in this set are super on trend. And if you go to any decorating store, any craft store, they're just everywhere. So as you walk around, I have just been snapping some pictures left, right, and center. People in the stores probably think I'm crazy, but I'm going to post them on my Facebook page just so you can get a bunch of ideas on how to color. Okay, so now I've got those and I'm going to let them dry. But before I do my big shot stuff, let me show you. As they were sitting here, here's the font for the barn door set, and those are super cute. And then here's the font for this set, and see, they match. I don't know if they did that intentionally, but these sets coordinate really well. I mean, they're both farmhouse, obviously, but even the style of the letters match. So you could mix and match these because even the words kind of go together. So that's fun. Okay, so now we've got some cutting to do. Oh, before I cut, I am going to color my barn door just because I colored it second, and you can do it second. And this doesn't matter so much if it bleeds because I'm just going to add some highlights. This is my bronze. I just want to give a little bit of shadowing to the panels so you can kind of see them. So this doesn't take, there's no coloring. This, I love the blends. They're one of my favorite ways to color. This is not one of my videos to watch if you want to learn how to color with blends, because this card is really about the mechanics of a card and the different layers and being able to slide the card. It's kind of a fun card. So I'm concentrating more on the fun of the card. And because there's no part of the card that stays open very long, like the inside of the card is colored and behind both the doors. So I'm not too concerned about how my coloring looks. Like normally I never color with this brush tip. Hardly ever. But because I'm just trying to shade these long panels of the door to give them a little bit of dimension from the rest of the door. And it may look a little dark right now, but when it dries on this designer series paper, it lightens up. And part of the reason I don't color with my brush tip is because it flattens it. And you can see just a little bit. I just colored with it on one card. It already looks a little flattened. Okay, that's enough. So I'm going to pull my big shot up here because we've got some cutting and we've got some, oops, hopefully I haven't knocked my pieces off the table. I didn't know those were sitting there. We've got some cutting and some folders to run through. So I'll do the cutting first. I've got my magnetic platform. And to cut this, I'm not going to cut that. Oh yeah, I'm going to cut that. Figure out what I'm going to cut. And I don't want to use my no cutting plate. I should write a note to myself. I know you guys always like the ones that say no cutting when I cut on them. Makes you all laugh. Okay, so we've got the door. If you've not used this set before, it comes with a piece that cuts the door. So it's just a rectangle. It fits around the door, and then it comes with the mechanics of the door, which I'm using the black foil paper, which is, before I've always just used the black cardstock, but the black foil just gives it that extra little oomph, because now it really looks like black metal. So it comes, this is the little roller that rolls across the top. This is the handle, the door handle. I have never made a video, I realized. This is what happens when you use your magnetic plate, your magnetic platform and a warped plate. Sometimes they just have a little life of their own. Put it some, see? should have used the one that said no cutting. We camped last week and I haven't put my good plates back where they go. There we go. And then it comes with the two little hangy things that hang from the top. See, they've got a little life of their own too. I thought it wouldn't matter because I wasn't lining stuff up. Let me try up here. This is why you need new plates if you're using a magnetic platform. Maybe a good science lesson for kids about magnets. There we go. Squish all that on there. Roll that through. And I think that maybe my door handle came off. It did. So luckily I've got enough spare black, I think. So there's my door, and you can see that just it's dried a little lighter now, so you can see I just have those I just got the boards with a little bit different. Here's the bar that will go across the top, and then here's my two little hangers. I would show you the handle, but because my magnet's warped, it moved, so I'll need to cut another one of those. But that's okay, because I still have a couple more things that I need to cut. So I'm going to cut on my one that says, well, it doesn't say no cutting, because I haven't written on this one. I'll see if I have enough on here to fit that. The handle is actually super, super skinny. This thing looks giant, but it's tiny. So there's still actually maybe enough on this. And it's still doing it. Maybe my dies maybe bent a little bit. There we go. Okay, and then this piece right here, if you've not done it, this is gonna put your track in for your door to move. So when you put this on your card, you need to put it towards the bottom because your track is gonna line up here. So you need to have room for this piece here to go up here. So you just line that down, kind of center it in your card. And roll that through. Oh, and don't you just love the new, when you put a new plate through and all the creaking and the cracking. And now I have a handle that didn't move. So there's my door handle. And here is the track. So you see where the door is going to move there. And then this was what I used to cut out my door. And if you have like our stitch shapes or our layering shapes, you know that we have squares and we have ovals and we have circles. We don't have many rectangles. This, if you get the barn door, you now have a rectangle. And the nice thing is when you cut out the rectangle, it's also a little beveled, which gives you a nice little edge. This is the inside of my card. It makes nice tags. It gives it a really nice finished edge. So I'm going to roll that through. And it also will make this card have the same dimensions on the inside that match the outside. But you know, unless you're kind of a particular kind of artsy person, that doesn't matter. But see, it gives it a really nice little beveled edge. So that's the inside. Now I'm going to switch from my magnetic plate to my regular platform. And I have my wood grain. And I'm going to take this piece here because I want this to end up looking like it's a barn. Lay that in there and run this through. Oops. This is part of the reason I'm not going to take long to color the card because all of this is going to be the charm of the card. So my coloring is going to be just like highlights of color. So if you want to learn how to color with the blends, I have lots of other videos that you can go watch for that. Isn't that pretty? And then the same thing. Oops, I've just lost some of my hardware. This, when you put it through here, you want to make sure that your wood grain's going the same way. Like my wood's going this way, so don't put your wood grain that way. Put this in here, otherwise it'll look like you've got some funky wood on your door. Okay. So there's our door, all done with the big shot stuff. And you can see how that bled through the door. So always remember, that's why, even though I forgot to get some grid paper over here, I got some. Actually, I'll put my door together. Then you need, back when this first came out, we were using washers. Like there was like, what size washer do I need? And people were going to the hardware store and people were using pennies. And let me see if I can find the pieces that I lost in here. Everything fell in. But since then, you know, people started messing with other things. So here's what I'm going to use instead of washers. I'm going to use my gingerbread man punch. And I'm using this, the largest circle. The smaller one does not work. It's a fraction too small. This is almost a fraction, not quite big enough. If we had one that was a tiny bit bigger, I think if I still had the owl punch, that would be, it's a fraction bigger. So that would, if you still have your owl punch, try that one. So what you need to do is, I've already popped these out so you didn't have to sit and watch me. So these are all just from the gingerbread man punch. So you need the mini dimensionals. And again, I'm going to lose my hardware because I just laid it on the table. So you take these and you put these on the middle. And you lay your track here. And it's easier to do if you're overhead and not, because you don't want to do that. But I want you guys to see this and not the top of my head. So you put that in here, and then you sandwich another on top. So you need 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. I just punched a whole bunch out. So you can also do it like this, where you lay this under. So see, these are just the perfect size. In fact, one of mine pulled through when I lifted on it before. So if you have a circle that's a tiny bit bigger punch, it will work. We have a big shot one. In fact, you can use, I think the little flower that comes for the wreath in the barn door would work, but I just did not want to roll. It's so much faster to punch these than to roll them through the big shot. So I debated, but if you have any punch that's a fraction bigger, then it would work. Or you can use the washers. It makes your card be heavy, especially if you're going to mail it. This makes your card nice and light, because you're just adding some paper and some dimensionals. So you put one in each corner. You know, the card looks, if you've seen them and you don't know how to do it, it looks like it might be tricky. Not at all tricky. You're going to see just how easy this is, because we're just about done doing it. And if you already have this, if you bought it last year and you haven't used it because you bought it and then you thought, you pulled out the pieces and you thought, yeah, I don't know how to do this, then here's your no excuse. Now you can do it. So there you go. So you pull them both to both sides, and then you take your door. First, I'm going to stick my handle on it first. And you know, for a limited time until supplies are gone, we do have the fuse back. So I just lay my thing on. Can you see my little handle on here? You want to make sure it doesn't go everywhere. You just want it on the back of there, so you can see kind of how it strings up. And I just grab some and stick my handle on. Done with the dimensionals. And then I'm going to take my glue dots and take my thick tool. And first you start with one side. It doesn't matter which side. And you put 2 glue dots on the one end, so whichever end. And then you attach those, and then you pull this over. You put 2 glue dots on these 2 dimensionals over here. And then you pull this just past those. And then this is when I lost mine before, because when it's not mounted on the paper, because these are just the right size. But now your door slides back and forth. I don't want to pull it too hard because I don't want to have to push it back in while you guys are watching. Once it's mounted, then I'll be able to show you. But it slides back and forth. I'm just going to leave it until it's mounted. Then this piece is going to slide under here, which is the other reason I don't want to mess with it until I have that on. But now I can go ahead and color this stuff in. This is the piece that's the piece for the inside. This is the piece for the outside. Done with those. Put my blends over here, and again, they're going to be super, super fast coloring. This is my mango. This is the dark. And you could almost use your Stampin' Right markers with this, because it is super, super fast. Because it's going to be hidden behind the door, so it doesn't really matter. That looks super artistic. Some quick color there. Done with those. Then I'm going to pull in my greens. This is the olives. I have a few videos already up with this stamp set. The very first video, when I very first got this stamp set, I was one of the first people to have a video up, I think, on YouTube with it. Forgot my stems. And I used this and I added the Q-tips to the cotton. And now every time I stamp with it, I really want to add the Q-tips back to the cotton, and it looks really good to do that on the vanilla paper because the white Q-tips, of course, stand out. But you can't do that behind the door or else the door won't open. So I had to resist the urge, and there's my Q-tips on this. This is the Cajun Craze, which is a new color in the Holiday Mini for the blends. I think the mango might be a new color too. I know the Cajun Craze is. And then I do want to go over here with my Cajun Craze. This just says love. And I'm going to come back with that one in a second. This is the dark Cajun Craze. The dark. I know the squeaking bothers people. The vanilla cardstock doesn't squeak quite as much as the white. So, and plus I'm not blending as much, so there's not as much squeaking. So there's the Cajun. This is the bronze. And now all I have left to do is my little pot. This part's done. And for this one, I am going to use my brush tip. Just because I don't care that it's blended a whole lot. And because it's a big area. And because this isn't going to get cut out and because it's going to have a lot of ink, I'm not going to go right up to the edge of my thing. I'm going to make sure that I leave a fraction of space so it doesn't bleed. That was light crumb cake, I think. Yep. And then I think this is dark crumb cake. Yep. And with this, I'm going to use the little tip. I don't need the black, that was for my door. And then just go back and blend this in. And so this is for the inside of my card. My bracelet's coming down. Thought I was stabbing myself. Okay, this is, you watched my video last week when my stamp set of the week was Wishing You Well. This was a piece of the paper that I tried to do my Wishing You Well, and I ended up on this side. But this was the piece that I really wanted. So I still haven't made a card where this is the focal point of my card. But this is going to be the inside of my card. I love this paper. So I'm going to put this on the inside. And that's upside down. Oh yes, it's kind of, the cotton's kind of going all over the place. This is why you use scrap paper, because that's the back of my card. That's the front. Blends bleed through. And if you're using something that's not absorbent underneath when you color with your blends, then your blends are going to smear more because there's no place for that extra ink to go. So it's just going to, if you're using like a silicone mat or something underneath, then it's going to just keep building up on the paper that you're coloring on, and it's going to bleed more. So there's the inside of my card. And then we'll go back over here to this. And put a little bit, see here's the back, and here's the front. And it didn't take long. I don't care that that's not a masterpiece of art with the blend coloring, because like I said, most of it is the mechanics of this card. So slide this under and then center it. So I cut it so it's the same size as being hidden under the door. And then you flip this over. Now that I'm looking at these, I can kind of move my door. I think one of my dimensionals, the one that I put, when I laid it underneath, is the one that's stuck. Didn't happen when I did it the other way, but I wasn't concerned before if they fell out. I thought I would avoid that this time. Which one's stuck? It's not that one. Not that one. I think it's moving now. There we go. The top one was a little stuck. Okay, and then you need the I'm drawing a blank on what these are called. I'll put it down below, or it'll come to me in a second. Well, they're like dimensionals, but they're strips. They're called strips of something. And you need them at the top and the bottom. And then in here, so it gives your card some stability. So you just layer them on here. And they're just dimensional material, but they just are strips instead of cut like dimensionals. And then I put this a little too close. It should have been a fraction higher, so I'm going to just put some here. Because, you know, if you make a mistake, you just work with it. But that really should have been a fraction higher. But it's okay. And then you just pull the back of these off just like you would a dimensional. And once this is sandwiched on the card and my dimensionals can't really fall off, then I can move my door better. So we're going to flip this over. And this gets mounted on here. And then all we have left to do, see now it works, is put the hardware on. Get this out of the way so you can see a little better. And then anytime you're working with tiny things like this, if you lay it on a dimensional backing or lay it on here, then this stuff doesn't stick to this non-stick stuff. So it's great to use for a little. But again, if you pull it, you can kind of see, and then lift it up so it only sticks to that. Then there's no place for it to go and it falls back onto that. My husband's closing up the pool, so he may come in and talk to me. I'm sure he thinks I'm done by now because they don't know how long these things take. Now here's my little hardware. Not all of those things came out. I'll poke them out of both of them and then I'll stick it on. When you stick these on, it's only stuck to the bottom. The top is an optical illusion because if you stick it to the top, it really doesn't, it's not true hardware. It's paper. So what you want to do is just lay this on here. Just the bottom part you want sticky, so don't get it on your circle. And then you lay it here just so it optically illusions. Looks like it's going to be on the track. I didn't get any sticky on there. Trying to beat my husband coming in. There, now it's got sticky on it. So see, it just looks like it's touching the track, but it's fake. There we go. So then when you give it to your card recipient, they can slide one door and they can see your beautiful flowers. That's why you don't need to take a lot of time messing with the watercolor of it. But the style of the, you can't see because I'm looking at the camera and the phone to see where I'm moving it. So it slides fine. But the mechanics of the card is what's going to catch their attention and what's going to be fun about it. So don't worry about taking a long time to color it. But the style of the Country Lane Suites and the farmhouse look goes perfectly with the barn door and the sliding door. So I hope you pull that back out. I hope that you enjoy this and pop over to my Facebook for some more ideas on how to use this fun suite. And have a great day. Bye.